This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Let's make a motion to start and then I'll wing it.
I'll make a motion to start today's Board of Health meeting at 5:31 p.m.
I second that motion. All in favor, Maggie, yes.
Beth, yes.
Amy, yes.
And then roll call, we just did it, basically. So in accordance with the open meeting law of Massachusetts, this meeting is being recorded. And then I'm not going to go through all the public speak time or anything because there's no one here. So let's just move on to the agenda. How's that sound?
Great.
Yeah.
So approved meeting minutes. I didn't see anything glaring. Anybody else? So we want to just approve the meeting minutes from October 18th, 2023.
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our meeting on, what date was it again?
October 18th.
October 18th, 2023.
All in favor, Maggie, yes.
Amy, yes.
Beth, yes.
Oh, hi. Hunter, are you here for public speak or are you just listening in?
I'm just listening in. I'm the Healthy Youth Coalition's grant coordinator for the Public Health Department.
Oh, okay. And then
we do have one person. I think John Campbell. Let's see. John, are you on? Done. Okay. Nope. I think he tried to join and then he didn't. So John is a contractor related to the septic question that we'll review.
Oh, okay. Okay. I can just,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I skipped over the, we didn't have any public on. So why don't I just run through that really quick. So public speak time, if anyone wishes to participate in public speaking, you have about 3 to 5 minutes to address any topic that you'd like before the board. We will listen. We will not respond. If you wish to have your topic put on a future agenda, please let our health department know. Everyone is expected to remain cordial. Any disruptions, the meeting will be paused. You will be asked to put yourself on mute or off audio. And I think that's it. Is there anyone that wants to participate in public speak time? Okay. So we can move on to the director update. If you want to do that, Allison.
Sure. Yep. Just a sec. All right. So I just want to, just a few staff updates. So I just want to welcome Liz back from maternity leave. Well, she's back part-time from maternity leave and full-time after January 1. But Liz is here. One of the things that we discussed a few months ago with having our public health nurse, the public health social worker, coalition all sort of attend somewhat regularly with the Board of Health to give programmatic updates to the board, so that there's a lot more like situation and situational awareness and like updates and input from the board for all of these other programs that are under the health department. So Liz is here. We're going to talk about syringe exchange a little bit down the agenda. And I wanted to also introduce Hunter here, Hunter Pelkey. He is our new Easthampton Healthy Youth Coalition Coordinator. We're super excited to have him on, and he's a lifelong resident of Easthampton, grew up here, went to UMass. You have a master's in public administration, and what was the other one? I'm sorry.
I also have a double bachelor's in political science and philosophy with a minor in German.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Hunter has been on for a week, but has really picked up on getting one-on-one meetings with many members of the executive committee, and it's just been like such a fantastic addition to the team. So we're really excited to have him on.
Welcome.
Yeah, and you might remember from last meeting, Amy, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
Through the chair, Maggie. Hunter, do you want to give us a quick introduction to yourself and your experience and what brought you to this position?
Yeah, sure. So I'm David Hunter Pelkey. I go by my middle name Hunter. As Allison said, I grew up in Easthampton my whole life. Attended Pepin and Whitebrook and the high school after the remodels. I graduated in 2019, so a year before the pandemic. During the pandemic, I really hunkered down and took on way more classes than I probably should have, but it worked out. And work-wise, before this, I graduated back in May, so I haven't had anything in between there like that I would consider, work like this. I did have a brief stint with the CWA, which is the Communication Workers of America. It's the largest telecoms union in the U.S., and I did a research project for them over the span of 2.5 months. And I have some other internships that I did with the Greenfield Court Service Center is one of them. And then I interned for Mayor Nicole back when I was in high school. So, and what brought me to this work is it's something that I see affecting like everybody in the community, friends and stuff. And I just want to be able to like provide that sort of human element to it. So.
Great. Thank you.
That's what I was like, that looks like David, but his name says Hunter. That's what messed me up.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Jonathan's trying to admit it, to come in again.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know where he went.
Well, I would public speak. I don't think we need to give him any speaking time.
Yeah, he can until we're ready. So Allison, why don't you, are you all set, Hunter? You're all good.
Thank you, Hunter.
Thanks, Amy, for taking a step back and having, Hunter introduce himself. I wondered if the board members want to, I don't know if you want to introduce yourself briefly as well, just for Hunter's benefit.
Go ahead, Amy.
Maggie. Yes.
All right. Hunter, nice to hear from you. Thank you for sharing. My name is Amy Petrosky. I started on the Board of Health. It feels like a short time, but I think it's actually like 3 or 4 years.
So
yeah, Everett was, my son was very young. So I think probably close to 4 years. Prior to that, my work experience, which brought me to the Board of Health, was I have worked in local public health for over 10 years. And then now for the last little over 2 years, I've been at the Department of Public Health working in the Office of Local and Regional Health, helping to support local public health departments across the state.
My name is Beth Rist. I have also been a resident of Easthampton for the majority of my life. Just a couple stints for school and to mess around in New York, but otherwise I've been here. I've been on the board for about, a couple of years. End of the pandemic basically is when I joined. And, as a lifelong resident and as a physician assistant who's been working in medicine for about 15 years. And I just thought it was a nice way for me to give back to my community and be involved in some capacity.
And we've met Maggie Hebert, the chair, been on the board for, when Mayor LaChapelle started, that I was on, so it's probably been about 6 or 7 years. And I've been chair for 5 or 6 years. So I did not grow up in Easthampton, but I've been living here for almost 10 years and I love it here and I'm happy to be part of this community and decision making. I'm a nurse, so health goes hand in hand with my life. So here we are. Okay.
Thanks. I'll just go ahead and continue with the staff update. So we have a new animal inspector, Shayla Howe, and she has worked previously as the Northampton animal control officer and animal inspector, and she also does contract work with other communities, such as Williamsburg and I think West Hampton and some other communities to do animal inspection or animal control officer work. So she's incredibly experienced. We're super grateful and excited to have her on board. She just started last Wednesday. So we've had a lot of new staff join us in the past few weeks. It's great. And to that point too, so the part-time health inspector was also officially approved by the city council and the mayor. So that position has been posted. It's on the city website under the job, the available job webpage. I guess I can't think of what that is actually called. Sorry, words aren't coming to me right
Resources.
now. Yeah, human resources department for hiring for the city. So I think we'll start reviewing applicants in the next couple of weeks. I reached out to Northampton. It's going to go in the WMPHA newsletter. I have to see how we can pay to get it in MHOA newsletter too, if we don't have any sufficient applicants in the next couple of weeks. But we want to fill that position as soon as possible so we can get some more primarily restaurant inspections done. Brian will talk about this, but a lot of his work has been focused on housing cases, which is has been a big topic this fall with the health department. Excuse me. So let's see. So Healthy Youth Coalition update, other than Hunter being officially on, now Hunter and I are working on sort of like reconfiguring and refining the year 10 work plan. So this grant closes out end of September 2024. So we've got kind of a short timeline to conduct the programming for this year, add in anything that we think could be beneficial and supplementary for the community, and also potentially look at some grants for sustainability or components of the coalition that we'd like to sustain into the future. So yeah, we're busy with that. Let me see here. Flu and COVID clinics. So we held 3 flu clinics in Easthampton, one of the big public one at Public Safety Building. I think we had 111 people, which was a lower turnout than I think Easthampton usually gets for its public one. But we had a really solid turnout at our clinic at the Council on Aging. I think we had a little over 60 people, I want to say, which is a lot more than usual at Council on Aging. So that was good. And then we had a good turnout for our municipal clinic. On this coming Saturday, we have a COVID clinic coming up in the community, and we're holding that at a new location, the Easthampton Congregational Church downtown. We were looking for a space that was accessible on the bus line, really walkable, and had like a nice big space. And the city's going through an initiative right now to build a greater partnership with the Congregational Church and also St. Philip, which is right next door, as part of the Main Street kind of like development program that's going on over the next several years. And so it was just sort of a way for the health department to capitalize on that partnership. Go ahead, Amy.
Is the clinic going to have the newer monovalent boosters? Like, so what are we offering?
Yeah, so it's just the new monovalent booster that'll be like kind of the yearly update for each. I don't know if you can even get the older COVID more.
Yep.
And so if someone's wondering if, I know this is also for kids. So if someone's wondering if their kid is eligible for a booster, could they call? I'm mostly asking this for anybody who might be watching this at some point. So could they call the health department and see if their kid is eligible through color? Could you guys look them up in color?
Yeah, actually. So Chris, do you wanna speak? Chris just got trained in color, and now has access to it. Chris, are you on?
Yeah, so basically we're going through Northampton. They're the ones that provide the vaccine, and they're the ones that are managing the vaccines. So it really depends on what's available for that day. There's been some vaccine shortages on whether it's like Moderna or Pfizer. There are times that we don't know until the day of the clinic what we have that day. But I can certainly, if you send them to me, I will try to find out what I can.
No, I'm wondering more so like if parents don't know, like, oh, is my kid eligible for a booster? Like, I don't know when their last one was or what the guidance changes so much that like people might not know, like, is it time for a booster for my kid? So could they reach out to the health department and you guys could look that up and say, oh yeah,
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, I can definitely do that.
So they could reach out they call the health department and ask for you.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good question, Amy. Thanks.
I've lost track, honestly, even for my own, like where, and my pediatrician only offers the Pfizer, but my children have only had the Moderna. So like, I'd like to try to keep it the same. So I don't know.
I know it's really hard. It's just like one of those ever-changing things. And so we do have, the way we sectioned off this clinic specifically is the first hour is dedicated to kids 12 and under, or 11 and under. And then the 2 hours following that are for everybody 12 years old plus. I think we offer a total of, oh, go ahead.
Will there also be flu vaccine on site, or is it just COVID?
Just COVID.
No, they actually bring some flu too. They'll have a little bit. They don't actually advertise that, but they do bring some.
Fantastic.
Just in case somebody's asking for it. Mm-hmm.
Great. I didn't know that, Chris. So
yeah.
For bringing that information.
I've been helping out with the clinic, so I'm getting the inside scoop.
Parents have one-stop shopping if they can go and get their.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there was a total of 97 appointments available. And I know the majority of those, I think we're probably into the 80s now of appointments that have been booked by the community. So there's a huge demand for it. I honestly wish we could offer two, but we'll see. Chris, we can work with Northampton to see if it would be worth offering like another public clinic at some point.
Definitely.
Because we've only advertised this for a few days and the appointments filled up immediately.
And it was like 4 days ago, there were no appointments booked. So I think that's like pretty amazing that so many people, signed up.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. And it speaks to just, I know, well, Jackie has been working with members of the community to find the COVID booster and help them find an appointment at like a pharmacy in a neighboring community. But this is really like the one public clinic that anybody can come to in the community, where they don't have to travel to Holyoke or Northampton to like a CVS or a Target or some other pharmacy to get their vaccine. So really excited about the turnout and excited to be using a new space at the Congregational Church as well. And I think, okay. So the mid-year infectious disease report, I hope you all saw my email. I sent out the full report. I shouldn't have. There was a couple pages that weren't available to the public. And so we're going to omit any information with the discussion for that at our public meetings here today. But I just wanted to present that to you. That's a regional, excuse me, disease report that we get through the Public Health Excellence Coalition in the that is run by the Northampton Regional Group. Excuse me, I'm just here, and basically outlines the reportable disease rate in the region and also in Easthampton specifically. And I think Chris can speak to the amount of Lyme cases we've seen in the past. I mean, this year, but like also in the fall, we've had several new Lyme cases. So Chris is amping up messaging for the community and education around Lyme disease and preventing Lyme disease and tick bites and things like that. Chris, do you want to speak to that a little bit?
I don't have an exact count, like up to date, but I want to say it's probably like 9 in the last 3 weeks, which I think is like a lot for the community. So I think people don't think about, like, raking your leaves that you're going to get like a tick bite. They think of, like, the deep woods, so I think that's what's happening right now. So I've been doing some just trying to see if I can, like, post at the different trails. So it's like, the land trust I have to contact, and I already contacted the person at the rail trail, and I might be able to, like, post one there, but they don't like a lot of plastic. They don't like a lot of signs out there. So we'll talk about it, and hopefully we can get the education out that, just to be, aware that they are still out there and they're still, like, crazy busy trying to attack us. So.
Yeah, exactly. Excuse me. And just some, like, highlights from that report. So in this report, I should have said at the beginning, covers the time period of January 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2023. So this is just for the first 6 months of this year. And so COVID and flu rates in Easthampton were very similar across the region. There were 167 cases of COVID in that 6 month time period, 13 cases of the flu. Let's see here. And the rate of gastrointestinal illness was also very similar to the rest of the region. But we had higher rates of salmonella than any of the other communities in the region. Let's see here. And surprisingly fewer than 5 cases of norovirus, Giardia, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't read ahead enough. Our regional rates of salmonella are largely driven by contact with pet reptiles, which is very interesting. But I know Easthampton also had like foodborne exposure to salmonella. And this report will be available to us basically once every 6 months. So we'll receive the report a few months into 2024 for the remaining months, July through December 2023. I think it's helpful, but at the same time, it's one of those things where if we get this in like October, and this is about January through June, I guess it allows us to plan into the next year, but it's hard to be reactive to the findings in it. But there's nothing super surprising besides our recent cases of Lyme in the city.
Hey, it's good to know that. Yeah.
And I think that's it for my update.
Okay. Any other questions from the board on Allison's update? Okay. Move on to Brian, health agent update.
Hi. Yes. Hold on. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy right now.
Okay.
Um, so just kind of starting with tobacco, just to kind of give you an update from our last Board of Health meeting. Valley Farms, their tobacco, the 30-day suspension went into effect on October 19th. I did go in that day and observe that all tobacco products were off the premises. They also had a sign posted on the front doors, notifying the public that they had no tobacco sales at the time. I also did do a follow-up inspection as well earlier this week and observed it as well. Their suspension ends this weekend. So we conducted 2 inspections throughout the 30-day suspension period, and they seemed like they were compliant with it, which is good. So hopefully no issues moving forward with them. So we'll see as Pioneer Valley Tobacco continues their inspections. Hopefully things change in a better direction with that. As Allison mentioned, we recently had a increase in housing complaints, which is pretty typical this time of year. We currently have about 15 or 16 active housing cases, 5 of them being condemnations that we have in place. But we recently, over the past week, we've had probably about 5 or 6 housing complaints just within the past 7 days. So it's kind of a trend this year. So that's been taking up a lot of my attention recently, which is, like I said, expected for going into the winter. For septic, we did just recently approve and permit the construction of a septic system at 5 Torrey Street. So that should be, I believe they're installing the tank this weekend. So that everything should be hopefully fully completed by the end of the year. And when they're ready for inspection, they'll reach out for us. We did recently also just approve a geothermal well permit. 8 Button Road, we received an application about roughly a month ago for a geothermal well for a heat pump. Originally, the plan that they submitted had their setbacks from the property line and the sewer line didn't meet our town regulations. So they were informed that they could, submit a variance and appear in front of the Board of Health, but they ultimately decided to submit a new plan with the right setbacks. So that was recently approved, and the permit was sent out last week. For just quick trash hauling update. So we recently had a local waste hauling company, Pioneer Valley Waste Solutions. Their building is located at 40 O'Neill Street in town. They offer delivery service for trash, but they recently just inquired about the possibility of allowing their customers to drop off bags of trash and bags of recycling. So we're currently in the middle of navigating this right now to figure out, if this makes them fall into the category of a transfer station and, what the Board of Health needs to do exactly. So we are in the process of trying to figure that out. We do have a meeting set with Pioneer Valley Waste Solutions tomorrow morning, Allison and I, also with Jeff, the city planner, because I believe the planning board would also have additional requirements for them as well. But yeah, we're I know we're in the middle of communicating with individuals from the DPH and DEP, and just kind of combing through regulations, trying to figure out, what exactly we need to do in case they do fall under that category of a transfer station. And then recently, so that's it for just kind of general like inspections. And then I just had a couple recent updates. I did recently a couple trainings I attended. I attended a local Title V training last month, and then also the MHOA conference in the Cape last month as well. So both were great. I always take a lot out of the MHOA conference. And then I also actually, I just recently completed my bachelor's degree in public health from Southern New Hampshire University. Yeah, so my actual graduation date is December 9th. And I actually, in the email today, got my digital copy of my diploma. So yeah, so that's exciting. But yeah, that's all I got. If anybody has any questions.
No questions, but congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Ditto.
I wish Google let you do a little celebration or drop confetti or something. It seems like something.
I literally just tried to do it, and they're like, "You can't do that."
I did too. I'm like, that's so
Dang.
I'm sure. Yeah.
If Google's listening to us, figure that out, man. All right. Well, great job, Brian.
What
Thank
are you
you.
going to do with all your extra time?
Oh, jeez.
He's gonna get it.
There's plenty of other things I can do. I'm glad. I've been chipping away at it for a while, so I'm glad to I do want to eventually go back to school and further, my degree, but I'm happy to take a break right now. So.
Yep.
WavePad has a great remote MPH program, so with you.
And you can always get tips from Hunter. He's the expert, apparently.
Yeah.
And I mean, Hunter was in a pandemic and didn't have much else to do but take.
But still.
So still very impressive, Hunter. I could not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All good things. So next on the agenda is the septic system considerations for 39 Clapp Street and a proposed addition of ADU and adjusting existing bedroom count.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure to bring this to the board. It just to get everybody's sort of feedback and sign off on how the department will approach this particular situation with septic. And so John Campbell, who's here, but it's not public speak time. Sorry, John. Called me with questions regarding an addition of a accessory dwelling unit or ADU at one of his clients' properties. The house currently has a 4-bedroom septic system that was replaced, I think back in 2015. Jackie Duda was the director at the time and approved the system, inspected and approved the upgraded system. The issue though is with the ADU addition that brings right now the bedroom count is 5. So it's slightly, the septic system is still slightly undersized, even with the upgrade back in 2015. And with the addition of the bedroom with the ADU, that would bring the bedroom count even more out of compliance with Title V for the current system. And so John and I had a conversation about options about coming into compliance for Title V. As the clients do need, it's an aging in place situation. They do need 2 bedrooms that are first floor. So I reached out to a couple of health directors out in Berkshire County, as well as Bree up at FERCOG, and she did some outreach just to see what other health agents who deal with septic on a day-to-day basis would do in this circumstance. And so from the advice I got, there was a couple of options to increase the size of the leach field to have a greater capacity, to accommodate the greater bedroom size, to put a deed restriction on the home to indicate that the home in the future couldn't be sold, represented as more than 4 bedrooms. And then, but also to truly decommission a couple of the bedrooms in the home so that the way it's structured with the ADU, it can actually come into compliance without upgrading the septic system. And one of the important considerations here too is that the leach field is in the 100-foot buffer of a wetland. And so that would be work that would become very complex if the option to expand the leach field was taken. And I think there's also some old growth trees that the client wanted to preserve. And so I've worked with John and the client to see, and the homeowner, to see if there's ways that we can truly, go ahead, Maggie.
I just wanted to, I don't know who John Campbell is. If you could.
Oh, I'm sorry. John Campbell, he's a contract. I think he might be on this meeting. Maybe
He's
not.
on. Yep.
Okay. He is the local contractor working with the residents at 39 Cloud. I'm sorry. I should have specified that before. So he's been my primary point of contact for this question. Let's see here. Yeah. So I wanted to just bring this because it's so nuanced and because there's so many considerations. And we don't do a lot of septic in Easthampton generally. I just wanted to hear feedback. My recommendation, I could either share that now, or I don't know if you want to.
Well, I think I'd like to give Mr. Campbell, some public speak time.
Great.
If he can put himself on a video, or Jackie, if you can do it. And then Mr. Campbell, you'll have about 10 minutes to kind of, whatever.
Is he on mute?
I don't know. I just see the J.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, there he
Hi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Hi, everybody.
So, hi, Mr. Campbell. So you can have about 10 minutes to kind of state your sentiments about this particular case.
Well, it's a tough situation. I appreciate Allison kind of laying out sort of the fundamentals here. The real challenge here is, well, following what Allison said, what we're proposing is to decommission 2 of the second floor bedrooms by making them into suites on the second floor. And I sent Allison a floor plan so that they're not private spaces. And by doing so, we're actually, even with adding the ADU, we're bringing the house more into compliance with being a true 4-bedroom home that works for the homeowner who are committed, like this is their forever home. And they're committed to aging in place, multi-generational living. And we're just trying to, tread lightly, I suppose, on both their budget, like the wetland concerns with Concom, which I got to go for review at the end of the month anyway, just to actually build the addition, even though it's on a gravel driveway captured between an existing house and a barn. So, and in addition, clients have been more than willing to add the deed restriction. So really the short of what we're asking the board is to accept our proposal of decommissioning 2 of the bedrooms in the house, making it a true 4-bedroom home with an added deed restriction for protection for the city if a future user somehow ran into problems with the septic if they didn't comply with that deed restriction. How am I doing, Allison?
Yeah. So the only thing I would add to that is that the decommissioning of the bedrooms, it's not just like taking out a closet or taking out a doorway. It's like cutting off private access or private entrance to those spaces and connecting them directly through like a large entryway to the other bedroom. So
Yeah, I sent a plan
like
along
that's sort of like
Allison
a walk-in
earlier today.
closet. Yeah. But Amy, I am particularly looking for your
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
expertise here.
Amy, you look like you're ready.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Hi, Jonathan. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Thanks for coming tonight.
No problem.
So I'm most curious about the decommissioned bedrooms upstairs. And Allison mentioned it's taking away private entrances, but so what will that space actually?
So currently, it's a classic colonial home. It's split with 4 bedrooms on the second floor with a hall, like a front stair and a back stair, 2 separate hallways that access the bedrooms. Basically, one of the rooms is kind of undersized anyhow, so we want to remove the back hallway access to the second bedroom on the right-hand side. So you'd have to go through the primary bedroom, and it really becomes just a walk-in closet. Like if I was drawing up plans and submitting it to the town, like for the remodel, it would be a walk-in closet on that side. And then the other is, it was by the previous owners, the current owners, that actually is a suite where it has a walk through anyway. There's a door between the 2 bedrooms that doesn't actually have a door on the hinges. That's accessed from both hallways. And really, we just want to widen the opening, removing the doors. So it's just front to back. Like it's basically 2 bedroom suites, like one with a large walk-in closet, one with sort of like an alcove, and the main bedroom that access the hallway with the bathroom on the second floor. And that's what we're proposing to decommission it, where it really does restrict the privacy, where somebody would have to be, you'd have walk-through rooms if it was double occupancy.
And then the other 2 bedrooms are on the first floor?
There's 1 bedroom on the first floor, and then we're adding the ADU bedroom. So that's how we get to the count. And I mean, I can probably, I don't want to clog up the meeting, but like I'd be happy to screen share the floor plan, or I can email it to the board, like so you can actually see what we're proposing. But we're doing this in good faith. There's health issues where, first floor living is kind of necessary for 2 of the residents, and we're trying to move this along as fast as we can. But we understand there's challenges, and we're trying in good faith to put the house more in compliance without actually doing extensive septic repairs. It did pass Title V upon transfer this summer. So, I mean, it's functioning. And there's major concerns when we do go into it. I talked to the DPW, and unfortunately the sewer is like, I think, a half mile up the road.
Yeah.
So that's not an option.
I did.
So it's not an option.
Question.
I did confirm with the engineering department at the city too that there's no plan to extend the sewer in the next 10 years to the half mile down the road. So it's not really an option, unfortunately.
So the actual question is, what path do we take to make this compliant? Like the deed restriction and make it a 4-bedroom? That's what you want to do?
That's our proposal to the city, and we're just doing our best, like here. And we're committed to making those 4 bedrooms on the second floor truly 2 suites that wouldn't practically be, used as 4 bedrooms.
So Amy, Beth and I are not on this end of.
Well, I think I'd like to see the floor plan of the second floor.
Sure.
I mean, I think, you have a couple of things that sound like are against you, like with the buffer that you have. Really, we would need to make sure as a Board of Health that we're protecting that area and ensuring that the way that we're using, that the house is being used and will be used in the future when your clients are no longer in that house.
Sure.
Is being used and designed and developed in a way that will maintain a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Even if it's only 4 bedrooms on the deed and people move in and are like, oh, I'm just going to throw up a wall here now, 6-bedroom place. Because, I understand the cost of like making it a true 6-bedroom in the leach field and removing what sounds like trees and whatnot is remarkably expensive, but so is those wetlands if they get contaminated.
Of course. One thing I'd like to add about the wetland is it's not, I'm by no means an environmental scientist, but really what we have is a culvert coming from the neighbors under the neighbor's driveway, draining into a depression in a depression below a paddock. The house is a horse farm, and so this isn't a marshland, like a classic marshland. There's standing water that's been designated, and I'll leave it to the experts for what that is. But just a little clarification what that wetland looks like versus.
Yeah, I mean, the protections and classification of wetlands are well beyond my knowledge of it. DEP has that under control, and I trust that what they tell me is true. Yes. So how the water gets there and why it's standing there is the classification exists regardless of where the water's coming from. Of course. I think the next best steps are for us to take a look at those plans for the second floor, and I think. Allison checking in with Andrea Campbell from DEP and letting her know kind of what we have going on and asking for their advice here. I mean, if DEP thinks that, this is sufficient, I think the board probably would take that advice as well, assuming that we think the second floor is being decommissioned in a way that's actually decommissioning two of the spaces upstairs.
Sure.
Allison.
Yeah. That sounds, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying that's a really good idea. I like that.
Yeah, thanks for that suggestion, Amy. So does the board, just for clarification on my end, I'm happy. So John was able to share the updated proposal, the floor plan to me this afternoon. I'm happy to share that out to the board. Would you like to wait until, so what, in terms of timeline, so if I get a hold of DEP, this week or next week, I don't know, with the holiday, hopefully sooner rather than later, I can share that information via email with you all, but we won't be able to really discuss it.
When do you meet the Conservation Commission, John?
27th, and we were hoping that was going to be the last hurdle for permitting, but of course, I understand how processes go.
So the 27th. So,
I mean, as long as we have a quorum, we would have to put a public.
Maybe we could make a motion today that assuming we can get DEP to agree that the interpretation of the decommission of the top bedrooms are sufficient and there's sufficient I mean, my main concern is the protection of the wetlands, whatever they may be, right? Like as a protection of our job is also to think about the health of the city, right? And so our job would be to make sure that we're not going to approve something that's going to then cause further problems somewhere down the line. So we could vote and say, assuming these two things are met, that we would
approve.
I don't think we need to approve. This is Allison as the Board of Health agent has the authority to make this. The only reason the Board of Health gets
director
a local upgrade approval. Is this a local upgrade approval? Is this LA? No, this is not a 4-foot separation to groundwater.
No, it's not.
So they don't technically need our approval or our vote for this.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to work with Allison directly to talk about the code and where that stands and my recommendation on her decision, because our vote is not necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The reason I brought it to the board is just, I wanted to make you all aware and to bring your expertise into the topic as well. So Amy, I will reach out to DEP and coordinate with you if the board wants to take a vote to sort of like preemptively based on these criteria being that.
But it sounds like we don't.
Never mind. You don't need to do that.
I would caution taking a vote for where we're not necessary. Let's if you want to CC me on that email to DEP, my Gmail account probably, I can then help chime in and try to move this along.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse.
Yeah, Jonathan, we want to try to make sure our residents get what they need in their houses, and
Absolutely.
can change them and edit them and make them what they will, as long as we're following the codes that exist for protection.
Totally. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was easy for Beth and I.
I know, right?
All right. So next item is the Tapestry Health Syringe Exchange and mobile van services.
So I can introduce this topic. So I should say Liz Wynot, who's I believe the director of harm reduction services at Tapestry Health, based in Holyoke, approached Liz and I about expanding their mobile van services and harm reduction services into the city of Easthampton. They currently serve 11 of the surrounding communities in our area. Easthampton is one of the only places that they don't currently provide services. So in order to provide their services, the Department of Public Health requires a formal letter being drafted from the Board of Health to allow the harm reduction services to come into the community. Some of those harm reduction services are naloxone distribution and training, syringe access and disposal, risk reduction counseling related to sexual and drug use risk, testing for HIV, hepatitis C, and other sexually transmitted infections. They can do that through their mobile van, and then also refer people for treatment if they do test positive and stay connected with people. Referrals to primary care services such as wound care, vaccinations and screenings, and also referrals to substance use treatment, behavioral health services, and specialty care. So these are just some of the services that they offer. It's a really exceptional team of harm reductionists that work with the mobile van services. And we wanted to bring it to the board for discussion and a potential vote today. Liz, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that I would add, so in the year and a half that I've been here, I've made several trips over to the Northampton Tapestry site and talked with their staff there for a variety for our residents. And on several occasions, their staff have shared with me that unfortunately our Easthampton residents are traveling to Northampton to get the things that they need that aren't currently available in Easthampton. And some of them are walking, biking, taking the bus, doing whatever they have to do. And the services that the mobile van offers are, it's a variety of different things, and they can do referrals. They can make sure people are receiving the care that they're looking for. And it's a huge convenience to our residents. And it's clearly needed because they reached out to us to say, we're serving this many Easthampton residents at this point. Is it okay if we come into your community? Would you vote in favor of this? So on my end, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. And I'm hoping that this is something that we can for our residents to access and get what they need and are already traveling to receive.
Yeah, I feel the same. Kind of a
And the
no-brainer.
mayor, I'm sorry, Maggie.
Go ahead. Nope, I'm agreeing.
The mayor has already given her approval for the services as well. She said she fully supports this if the board wants to move forward.
And just to clarify, the company that will be coming in is the same company that are already servicing them from Northampton?
So it's all under Tapestry, and Liz had explained to us that the support that has to come from boards of health to go to DPH has to support an approved program to do the syringe exchange, and Tapestry is the approved program for our area. So all of this would fall under Tapestry.
And who's doing this in other communities? They're already.
They're in Northampton, they're in Holyoke, they're expanding into a couple other communities in the coming weeks as well. So Liz said they're covering everybody right now.
Well, this is interesting because we just passed the performance standards that talked about all the regulations that local public health and local health departments have to follow. And this was not a regulation that was included. So I'm curious what regulation mandates that local boards of health have to sign off on this so I can edit the performance standards.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Liz, I can follow up with you about that.
my own thing that I've never heard of this. Not that I don't believe it's true. I just would like to make our list as accurate as possible. But yeah, I agree with Maggie. This sounds like a no-brainer.
I'm actually surprised that this isn't already happening and that they haven't reached out to our city prior to this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure the need has been there for quite some time. So it's surprising that.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.